Hello, everyone. Uh, this segment is going to be on rising up to live a reality based life. Okay. I believe that's what is lacking a lot of us. Now, of course, nobody's going to ever admit that they know everything. That's not possible. But if you can base your life on reality, base your decisions on reality, base your goals on reality, and seeing things as they really are, based on your reality, not somebody else's reality. That's what we are getting to. And this book that we're going to be, among other books that we're going to be talking about, is The Falsification of the African Consciousness. Now, this could be anybody's consciousness because we all is living this mythology life. You know, it's hard for people to really talk about such deep seriousness. Is because what can you do about it? There's a lot you can do about it, and it's a lot that we're gonna have to do about it because it is damaging our children. It is giving them fear that they shouldn't even have. It's giving their outlook on life a very let me see, a, a such a illusion, and they're fighting this illusion, but they don't know really which way to go with it. What really got me on this is hearing about let me see, this young black African American who killed his stepmother and his 13-year-old sister and the mother of his two children. This happened in Philadelphia. His name was Andre Gordon, and he killed 3 people in Bucks County. And I'm like, again? Oh, I mean, because I just heard about this not too long ago. You know, I mean, it happens so much that you can't keep up with it. And I am wondering, why do this keep happening? Why are these people at such a young age so mad that they're killing their family? They are killing other young ones. And we can't keep not talking about it. We can't keep not talking about it. We spend too much time talking about Trump and the Democrats and the Republicans and Putin and Ukraine, and we spend too much time on that while our kids are steady being jailed or buried. And I started talking about this book and what we could do to avoid it, because we're not investigating this much. We're not investigating why this keeps happening. What is going on? And we need some deep understanding and some deep investigating to see what's going on. Because this political climate has revealed to us that there are these MAGA people. These people are out here taking care of our children. They are working at your clinics, dentist office, medical clinics, teachers, and we just firefighters. Actually, in New York, was booing Letitia James because she is keeping the justice system rolling for everyone, and they was actually booing her at an event. So we have mega people that are coming to our rescue, first responders. So this is serious. That's why if we don't get ahead of this, this is going to happen too many times. And it's coming towards you and me. Now it's kind of too late for us because we old. Our kids is grown. But we need to worry about those young ones, our grandkids, the ones that are coming after them. Because these people are very devious. They could come up with some stuff. Now, don't forget, don't think that stuff you see on TV is not really happening. Oh, they're not trying to happen. No. And what I've been reading is really serious. I need more light. And even though I would talk a lot about the European doing all this devastating stuff, well, the fact of the matter is they are the reason why this world is in chaos. They are the culprit. They are the catalyst of all evilness and all the wars and diseases and crime and disease. Really, they are up there. If it wasn't for them getting power, this world would be a way better place to live. And this book is just telling us about the mythology that they have created that have had people thinking they should be at the top. Let me see, where did I stop at? The European must undoubtedly fear the truth of the African history. We call the phrase, "Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." And if we are not free today, then we must not know the truth. If Eurocentric history and other disciples are true, then why aren't we free? The knowledge of truth threatens those who wish to imprison us, keep us in prison, and keep us dominated. The projection of the European version of history into our minds and mythology is a way of repressing truth within our own minds and within our breasts as a people. European historiograph functions to maintain repression. Often the person represses painful information that threatens his equilibrium because he may be profiting by the lies he tells, the false perceptions and consciousness he creates in himself and others. Therefore, truth and more realistic history threatens these gains. His self-esteem and vision of who he is and what he is maintained through the projection of his history as mythology. That's one of the functions of mythology, to maintain self-esteem. Okay? Now, I see that it's a lot of black people out here that's really starting to look within and starting to get information from black scholars, and also are going into investigation and research and are learning a lot of things, because we have been lied to for so long. We thought Cleopatra was black. We thought the pharaohs were white. We thought that we thought Cleopatra was white, but now we coming out. A lot of stuff is coming out that was a lie. A lot of it's coming out that all that stuff that they got a lot, the Greeks and all that, they got a lot of their information from black people, Africans. And we're finding out that the black people was the beginning of civilization. Oh, it just so much is coming out, and the white people are getting very upset about it. And that's why they're taking all these mythologies and forcing them on people and causing a lot of disruption towards black people and people of color. They're really starting to mess with the schools, because schools were starting to discuss racism and all this other stuff that they don't want people to care about. They're really mad because of these movies that's coming out of black African queens and what they did to beat the white man. They don't want none of that stuff that's coming out, because they want us to stay under the umbrella of being supported and dependent on white people. And you have a lot of black people that are willing to let that slide. The European projection of history not only serves to drive out and repress truth, but also to maintain the inflated European ego. Therefore, truthful history is not only seen as a correction of his history, but as a direct attack against his ego status and position in the world. That's why African-centered history is reached to with such great anxiety. That's why almost anything African is reacted to with alarm. But it is only through Africanness, only through the projection of the truth of Africanness, that our freedom can be attained as a people and European domination brought to an end. And they're not saying this enough. Nobody is saying this enough. You see all these black people with the megaphones and the money. They're not talking about that. What do we get from them? Nothing but a bunch of stupid ass stuff. They're not talking this stuff. They're not talking about unity and what we have to do to get from under this suppression and stop living under this mythology, all these lies that the white man has told. All the money that these black people have. Why we don't have more research, scholars, schools, our own company. We don't have any international trade going on. Whether a mythology is perceived as true or false is psychologically unimportant. It is socially unimportant. Some blacks would debate Elijah Muhammad's view of the world about the white man being the devil. Oh man, some black people get really upset when you say that about the white man being the devil. Of course, the Negro who doesn't want to do anything gets into the fine points of that. He's very careful to distinguish the good ones from the bad ones and the ones in between. Okay. Now, of course, you have good people, bad people, or any nationality. That's not what we're talking about. Yeah, you can go in any boardroom over here in America. Okay, we're talking about specifically right now. You can go in any boardroom, any office buildings downtown, Congress, government. Who you say? Who's 98% of the people in there? White people. And the reason why we say that is because you know the good ones that you want to call, they're doing nothing but just sitting back, benefiting. They're sitting back doing nothing. They see the stuff that's going on. He has a graduated measuring rod. He works them out by degree. But when the white man enforces segregation down south, the good black folks and the bad black folks sat right in the back of the bus. It didn't matter. The mythology didn't differentiate. Now, when that was going on, what was the white people doing? Yeah, you had a few that was not saying anything. You had a few that was killed during the civil rights. But overall, they said nothing. They benefited from it. They didn't have to go sit at the back. They didn't have to stand up on the bus because there were no seats. They could go with dignity into town and didn't have to go out in the woods and use the bathroom because they weren't allowed to go in and use the bathroom in the restaurants. They all benefited from that. Now, what I say, if all white people had been against that, it would not have went on for so long. They basically did it because of the good white people that thought they was too good to be sitting next to black people. You're black, get back. That's the deal. You're bad. The function was not that of telling truth. The idea was how that mythology, that all blacks are bad, helped maintain the racial status quo. The idea is not whether whites are devils or angels, but what would happen if we dealt with whites as if they were devils. How would that transform our situation as a people? How would that transform our behavior as a people? Would it move us closer to doing for self? Would it move us closer to controlling our destinies, our own behaviors, gaining control of our economics and our nations? Yeah. Because if we had I hate to say this, but if we had never played slaves, that would have been a good indication that we're not owning that. You own it. They could make, and they have made slave movies with white people in blackface. But I say Roots was written by a particular family, by a relative of the family. Now was that should have been the narrative of all slave movies. It should have been a true story about a true family. But just making these movies out of the blue, just for entertainment, and they still doing it. Would it remove us from being manipulated and used by another system? It is not above truth alone. It is about self-control. It is about the gaining of power. It is about being able to protect and advance our survival. But if we get caught up in the minute maintain of trying to figure out whether there are good ones and bad ones and others in between, we may find ourselves being destroyed in our studies. That's why we have to recognize that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the greatest psychologist we ever had. And many of us still not come to understand that yet. Some of us, though, that we were doing our intellectual thing, when we get caught up trying to point out his mythologies, not at all. We must look at function. So European history, whether it is true to the extent and or in the context within which it is projected, or whether it is false, it is really not the ultimate point. It's the fact that it functions as a mythology, and as mythology, it functions to maintain European power, domination, and control. It's all about control. It is our attack against it as a mythology that we must be concerned with as an African people. Because the mythology becomes a part of our mental structure. It is used as a tool of intellection, a tool of comprehension, a tool of dealing with the world and relating to the world. I see, that when you go to school, they really work on your comprehension. how you comprehending this? What is this? What do you see? And they pretty much want you to see the same thing they see. When you read a story, they ask you, and they come up with the answers. See, they're already getting in your head because you have 4 answers to pick from. So you already has to already be in line with their train of thought. This mythology. And if you don't, you will fail. Whatever mythology we believe is one that organizes our approach to other people, our perception of ourselves and of other people. It provides answers. The answers may not be right. They may be wrong, but it still provides an answer. And that's psychological satisfying. Nothing threatens us and nothing upset us like an unanswered question. Often man projects a mythology in order to get himself out of his agony of dealing with unanswered questions and to put his mind at rest. Now, if you look at a lot of mythology, okay, just like people way back when they was hear lightning, they would say, "Oh, that's the gods talking to us." They really didn't know lightning was just coming from the clouds and the rain and all that other stuff. We found that out through research and all this, stuff that they like to go up into the atmosphere and figure out, And just like earthquakes and all this stuff, they would come up with all these different gods. The god of lightning, the god of rumbling. And it's a lot of stuff that we didn't know. But that is not the case now. Just like over there in Africa, every now and then you would come across a statue with the nose blown off. Well, we find out, that's because the white man did not want people to know that those were African noses. They were black people noses. And of course, if you got a black nose, it must have been from a black person. So it's a lot of stuff that is coming out, and they want to thwart it. They don't want it to keep going forward because they scared that it's all going to come out. What is he going to do? You think about it. You got all these different countries that have nuclear weapons. You have all these people with all these different satellites and rockets and numerous kind of weapons. But we ain't worried about that. We worrying about dying, leaving this earth. Living in a mythology world. We are here to set the record straight. We are going to leave this world in a reality-based life. And I know, lots of people that left this world not knowing. Just like there's a lot of people that died before we had the first black, well, they say the first, but some people say he isn't the first, but the first black president of the United States. And they trying to make it a last. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But we're doing this for ourselves and our children. We don't want them to live their whole life in a mythology world written by these Europeans. And this is a very important book too. Rich Thanks to Racism. By Jim Freeman. Yeah. I'm just going to read a little bit about, I'm just going to read these 1, 2, 3 paragraphs. I'm not going to, I'm going to keep it short because I know our attention span, I feel sorry for these teachers because our attention span has really took a hit. Yes. Because with all this internet and stuff, our brain is like, what you missing? You're missing something. Because for one thing, our brains have been subjected to a lot of videos, a lot of information in a very short time. And if you don't save it or record it yourself, you won't get it. You won't see it again. And, or if somebody make it private or delete it, you won't see it again. So we're trying to see as much as we can while we can. But chapter 1, the racism profiteers. I say it all the time. Racism is a marketing tool. Okay. Anna Jones wasn't sure what to expect when the Chicago Public Schools closed 50 schools in 2013. She was certainly concerned about the effects of displacing so many children and family. Oh, that's hard. That's hard to believe. She was particularly worried because so many of the school closures were concentrated in black and brown neighborhoods that had long been neglected by the city's power structure and were thus struggling with issues of poverty and violence. But she also believed Mayor Rahm Emanuel when he said that the closures was necessary because those schools were underutilized. Underutilized? How is a school not utilized? Even if the kids aren't coming in, that school could be used for something else. She was willing to accept him at his word that the results would be better educational experiences for the tens of thousands of students who would be affected, including her 4 young children. So the following fall, she entered the new school year with an open mind. Her attitude shifted immediately once she saw the actual impact of the closures on her children's school. When she dropped her daughter off for her first day of kindergarten and saw that her class had 54 students and just 1 teacher, she cried. Then she saw how many her children's teachers didn't even have enough books and paper to go around for every child. The elementary school was so overcrowded that her son's pre-K class had to eat lunch on the floor of the school gym. To make matters worse, her already severely undersourced local schools had faced multiple rounds of budget cuts in recent years, forcing them to eliminate staff, valuable student programs, extracurricular activities, and portions of the curriculum such as art, music, and world language classes. Those effects, combined with the impact of the closures, meant that in many schools there weren't enough educators, support staff, and educational resources to create healthy learning environment and meet the diversity of children's needs. What I saw was nothing short of catastrophe, she says. As a result, day after day, month after month, Anna was tormented by the knowledge that her children were not receiving the education they needed. She didn't blame their teachers. Anna knew them well, and she recognized that they were quality educators who loved the kids that they taught. She also knew that those teachers' skill and devotions were not enough to overcome the horrendous conditions under which they were forced to work. Anna tried her best to help out and even volunteered extensively at her children's school, but still it wasn't enough. It was painfully obvious to her that her children, along with the countless others in their schools, were being failed by their policy makers. She was also acutely aware of how inequitable the education system had been and continued to be, and how her kids' chances at a good life was diminishing by the day because of it. They don't have to deal with this in privileged neighborhoods where white folks are, she says. They just don't. And I am happy for those children. They should be educated properly. Those families should have access to everything they need to meet the needs of their children. But so should we on the south side of Chicago. Now, this was happening at the Chicago Public Schools announced that they would be closing Walter H. Diet School in 2015. Diet, D-Y-E-T-T, Diet, was a treasured community institution and the last traditional open enrollment high school in the area. Anna was desperately wanting her children to attend. Okay. Oops. Let me see if I can find that school. What is it? Walter H. Let me see. Let me put down Chicago. Okay. Why am I getting the School for the Arts? It was a high school. Okay. Walter H. Diet High School for the Arts. Okay. Now this says in 2011, the district cited Diet poor academic performance an option to phase out the under-enrolled school over a 3-year period. Parents and activists responded by holding a 34-day hunger strike last fall to try and save the school. Okay, it reopened. It says 2015. Okay, so um, it said 2016 the school was reopened. Now, this just shows you what can be achieved if we stick together. Now, why they don't have enough kids to go to this school? Okay, so that's okay. You could tell that's my first time reading it. I didn't. Um, Now, what do this racism profiteers have to do with schools? Well, it start people to be start privatizing certain institutions, and people make their money just like they privatize prisons, and people was making big money off of prisons, and it was so bad that they was actually telling people, you better get some inmates in here because I'm losing money. How do you privatize prisons? Because they make money. So we're gonna talk some more about this. I found this a very interesting book. Okay, we have something. How human beings become illegals. Isn't that something? How they could literally call a person an illegal? That's the mythology for you. The racism of school privatization. And racism is very profitable. It's a lot of black people have become millionaires because they won a civil rights case. So it's a lot to it. It's a lot to it. So I'm going to end now. Thank you for listening. I will be back again. And we are going to... I'm just going to do this a little bit because, I recommend getting this book and keep it around. Get two so your kids can read it and you can read it. Because it's time for us to put our kids in reality-based life. All right, thank you for listening. Y'all have a